Hello. Can anyone around here speak basketball?
There it is.
It's the Confederacy of Dunks Basketball Podcast.
Kyle Lowry. Welcome to the Confederacy of Dunks Basketball Podcast. I am your host, Freddie Rivas, and who, sir, on the stand-up desk are you?
The producer, Matt Duncan. And yeah, I'm rocking the stand-up desk today. I think it's the first time I've ever recorded the pod at the stand-up desk, but I'm feeling good. You know, I'm trying to keep the blood flowing, keep that vaccine circulating.
Oh, yeah. You're on your toes. You're vaccinated, I can tell. Yeah, man. You know, it's the summer. We're feeling good. We're doing pretty good. We just had a really fun podcast with Cathryn Naiker, Yaw Attuah, regular guests on this show, and we, you know, went through the playoffs. We talked a little bit of off season, and we talked about which Raptors you might want to see in the playoffs.
Right.
So lots of good convo, lots of laughs. And you know, we're going to talk about some fun stuff coming up here that me and Matt have going on. But I think before we do that, we just want to thank you for supporting the pod, following the pod, repping it. Everything anyone does for us is just mega appreciated. So thank you. And if you do want to support more, share the pod.
Yeah.
You know, give us like $1 million because you're like quietly a billionaire. How might you do that? How can you do that, Matt? Tell the people.
Well, just before I tell you that, I just want to say this is our 200th episode.
Wow.
Which is, you know, quite a milestone to be.
I buried the lead.
He buried the lead. Well, it's been about, you know, we're in our 8th season. We've been doing it for 7 years now. You know, shout out to Kevin Dowse, the original co-founder, co-host,
big boy lawyer.
You know, part of those 200 episodes. Off on law, like, well, I guess he's done law school now. He's just a straight up lawyer.
Oh, he's suing everyone.
Wearing the curly wigs, having a good time, you know. So yeah, Kev, we miss you, and you know, we this podcast wouldn't exist without you.
Hell yeah, he named the pod. Just a little.
He named the pod. He
a little
read the
tidbit.
Book, the Confederacy of Dunces.
Yeah, he's the only one that can read. That's big.
You know, I'm aware of it. It's on my list. Still haven't read Confederacy of Dunces.
Yeah, you'll read that as soon as you watch NBA Jam. Just right after.
Yeah, like the cover looks like Triplets of Belleville or something to me. So, you know, that's caught my eye.
Oh, it is. Yeah, they bike a lot.
Yeah, but if you want to bike your way over to ways to support us, go to dunkspodcast.com. We've got all our links there. You can listen to the episodes. They get posted. And as well on our Instagram and Twitter, we've got our link trees if you want to get to our Patreon, if you want to buy a toque, if you want to go to the Sonar Network, which is the network that is hosting us and takes care of us and soothes us, go to the sonarnetwork.com. Lots of great podcasts getting at it all the time. And you know what I say, everyone together, click that and button. That's right. There's tons of good stuff down there.
Isn't it and more?
And more, yeah.
Sorry.
What did I say?
Click the and button. I'm not trying it's a good spiel. I'm not trying to mess with it. I'm just helping out.
Oh, I said the and button.
Lips are sealed and more. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Thanks for the correction on that, Freddie. The and more button. And as well, yeah, just thank you very much for all the support. And if you can, yes, subscribe. Yes, write a review. Give us a star rating on that old Apple iTunes. And, you know, we're just going to keep excelling to the moon.
Excel to the moon. Little shout out to anyone who watches RuPaul's Drag Race. Little down under. No spoilers here, though. Me and Matt are big fans of the pod. I will say this, since we're throwing out some Sonar love, I did do Squirrel Talk with Hillary Yaz and Selena Vile. It is a RuPaul Drag Race show. We talked all about Down Under, Australia, and it will be coming out soon. So I'll make sure to share it.
And hot takes on Coco Jumbo.
Oh, there's some takes. There's some takes on Coco Jumbo for sure. It is, it was a really, really fun pod to do. I'm super honored. I'm super honored to do it. And
check that out. SonorNetwork.com. Don't hit the and more. You'll see that one up top.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Squirrel talk, baby. Worth it though. Great pod. Okay, Matt. I feel like I wanted to interrupt for that. You let people know about all the good stuff, but we also have something cool we're starting for the playoffs.
Yeah.
Why don't I let you take it away?
Okay, so the Raptors are out of the playoffs, and Freddie and I were talking. We're like, well, why don't we do a little gentlemanly bet playoff pool kind of ranking system?
Mm-hmm.
So we've set up like a pool where we ranked all the 16 teams in the playoffs right now from 1 to 16. And obviously 1 is the one that we think is going to win, and 16 is the one that we, like a Memphis thinks is going to be in the first round.
And we duel with an old revolver.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. So we have put our picks in, and we've been keeping track, and we're just going to, we're going to give little score recaps throughout the playoffs, because it's going to be going into, I guess, into June or July, right?
Mm-hmm. And I'll say the pressure's on me, right? I'm supposed to be the expert
the pressure
here.
is on you. Absolutely.
And Matt's coming in. He's coming in correct. So it's going to be hard.
Do you want to talk about just some of the highlights on your list for who do you think is going to take it this year, Fred?
I would love to do that. We'll be, consulting this list a bunch. So my finals was actually Bucks Clippers. And I am going with the Clippers, I think, which will be a little bit of a surprise to listeners of the pod, but I think it's anyone's game there in the West. And I think they have what it takes to get it done. I've also been just a relentless supporter of the Bucks for some reason.
You really have.
I really have. Yeah. And it's made me look silly a couple times, or, last year anyhow, but I'm just confident they have what it takes. So they're high up there for me. Some of our discrepancies looks like we're pretty different on the Nets.
Yep.
Looks like we're pretty different on the Hawks.
Yep.
We're both a little shocked about that Grizzly game, I think. But I'd say I feel like I'm looking pretty good. I got a slight lead over Matt.
A 93-90 lead right now. I mean, funny enough, I did choose the Clippers as well to go to the finals and lose to the 76ers. So I don't know why I'm riding Philly, and I don't know why I'm so low on the Bucks. Like I just don't see them getting by Brooklyn, I guess.
Hey, this Brooklyn Bucks series is going to be a big divider for us. I think that's what we were talking about. So
yeah.
But I mean, sorry, we were talking about that before we recorded. That's going to be a kind of a point. I think who wins that series might indicate who wins this poll.
Yeah, definitely. So anyways, if you'd like to keep track, we do have it up on our YouTube if you want to watch the episode, and you can see all our picks there, and we'll keep you apprised into how things are going as the games go on. And
we'll also say this, please, we'll take any suggestions for the stakes of this bet.
Oh, yeah.
Me and Matt, we're both hardcore, right? We're willing to do a lot of stuff. I suggested that I will borrow Matt's snowblower for 5 consecutive winters. And I'd be snowblowing lakes, all sorts of stuff, really. So it would really, I'd take it to the max.
Put miles on that thing.
I'll put major miles on it. If it makes it past 1 week of one winter, I'll be surprised. So that's what I want to do. Matt, what would you want me to do? Like, what's your?
Well, I'd like the idea that you were going to give me some serious birding secrets that you have.
Yes.
My wife just bought some new binoculars that she's very excited about. So maybe I can sign those out sometime and use them. And you can show me exactly where to direct them. You know what I mean?
I love the idea of a couple that has to sign stuff out like it's a public library. I'm going to bring that into my relationship, and I'll just very quickly kind of schedule the divorce lawyer as well. Because I do think that would be the beginning of the end for me. As I would rent stuff out and immediately lose it.
Exactly.
I just can't have a record for the things that I do, right?
Yeah.
It would work for my partner. For me, it would just be bad news. I think though that takes us to the beginning of the pod. I think we're ready to get going here. But before we jump into this pod, I will say we are recording on the anniversary of the murder of George Floyd by Derek Chauvin. And I'll also say that, I've seen a lot of kind of like conversation around, his passing as some kind of like sacrifice or martyrdom, like we were talking about before the record, Matt. And I think it's an important point of contention to understand that he was not giving his life. He was not trying to inspire a movement. This was someone who was trying to live and was killed by the state. So that I don't think can be lost in all of this, which is what brings me to the more important points. Black Lives Matter, defund the police, stop Asian hate, and email or call your city councilor. They have to respond to you and hear your grievances. So, with that, I think we are ready to get this pod going. Maddie, if you feel like we're ready to go, please, sir, just give me those sweet words. Okay. Okay, we are excited to get this pod rolling and start talking some playoff basketball and also, think about the playoffs as it pertains to the Raptors. Let's bring on guest number one. He's done this pod a bunch. Yeah, he's definitely one of our most frequent guests. He's a ridiculously good stand-up, an amazing comedian, a writer, an actor, an athlete. Like he's got quite a bit going on. He's amazing. You probably know his song because it sounds like someone's losing their mind to LSD on the beach. Give it up as loud as you can, even if you're at home alone, for Yaw Attuah. Oh, I forgot. You got a new song.
It did update.
This still works. This is good.
No, it is. I feel this song. I have summer vibes, and like now that we're having hot days here in the city, I feel it even more. Because before, my songs, both of them, have been like aspiring for better weather, and now it's here. So
yeah, this is like the hot weather has arrived, and you're ready for it.
I'm born for this. Born for this weather.
I'm just happy to have you back. You're amazing.
Listen, that intro is way too much. It is. I am humbled. I feel good about myself.
Good. You should.
It's great.
I'm just happy I didn't stutter. Let's do intro number 2. Let's see if I do a good job there. She is, I think, the most frequent guest of this pod. She runs Buckets and Tea, which is an amazing pod. Recently had Ennis Esmer on the show. He's always such a good guest. So make sure you listen to that episode. We are always working on stuff together. She's an amazing stand-up and amazing writer. I'd love to tell you what she's working on now, but I don't want to get her in trouble, so I won't. Just an incredible basketball person and someone I love having on this podcast so much. The biggest Nick Nurse fan, predating Fisherman's Friends. Give it up as loud as you can, even if you're at home alone, for Cathryn Naiker.
Oh my gosh. Hello. Wow, between that and like Yaw's opening song, I feel like we're just partying on a beach like all day, and like Yaw is like this, that's the song that you like get the party started with. Like that's how you get the day rolling. And then my song is like the wind down at night,
I love it. I'm going to night drunk, like night vibes.
Yeah.
This is good. This is like everyone's got one dose. Some people are getting their second dose. We're feeling pretty good. Let's just enjoy Hanlon's point.
And
I don't know if that's a nude beach or not.
I believe it is.
It is. Okay. Well, I always go to the other beach because I'm a wiener, I guess.
But it's optional. Like
it's optional.
I'm one of the yeah. Anyway, I've been to Hanlon's Beach and kept my clothes on. Whatever, it's fine.
Okay, fair enough.
It's pretty on brand for me. I don't think anyone's that surprised.
Yeah. Okay, let's Hanlon's Point banter aside. Let's jump to some Raptor stuff. Maddie, I know you're there. I trust you're there. Please, good sir, give me your most delicious Raptors sting.
Hey, Bobby Webster.
Yeah. What's up? Let's go to you first, Yaw. This is just kind of, I'm really, really enjoying the playoffs. I think I totally get a lot of Raptors fans who are feeling a bit relieved to not have to stress about their team in the playoffs and just kind of enjoy the excitement that is playoff basketball. I'm always, I feel like there's a bit of nuance there for me where I definitely still would rather be watching the Raptors in the playoffs. But, we're here and I'm enjoying basketball. And, also, I won't go all the way there, but enjoying the WNBA and enjoying cut some NBA Africa highlights. So just basketball everywhere, and I'm totally digging it. But sticking to the NBA playoffs, just thinking about our roster, it could be a person who you've already seen in the playoffs and you want to see what else they're going to do, or someone maybe who's never been in the playoffs or never in a high leverage situation anyhow. But my question to you is, which player would you most like to see in a playoff series right now? Like which Raptor that's watching from the outside?
I think everyone's favorite rapper, Aaron. No, I'm kidding. I'm not
everyone's favorite rapper, Dame Lillard. Sorry.
I would have liked to see. I was between two. I'm not going to say both in case Cathryn does have one of these, but I would have liked to see what Boucher was going to do in the playoffs, because he's already making a leap and he was taking a step up. And I know he's played in the playoffs before, but like now he would have lost some serious minutes against some of the East opponents. He would have not been super matched. I mean, provided it's not like Embiid or Giannis, like or Bam. We are pretty he's pretty okay in that position. If that valuable experience would have been helpful, because I think it really helped going back to OG having a pretty good playoff run last year in the bubble. I think that kind of carried over the next year. I mean, it had the exact opposite effect for Pascal for a while, but it is something that he kind of carried through. It was just like, you can take the last shot and we trust you, and then he kind of carried that momentum in the season. So I would have liked to see kind of the same thing from Boucher.
Boucher is a great answer. I feel like he's someone, I wanted to see him get some minutes against, Boston last year's playoffs. I feel like he was ready to contribute in some way. And I feel like with a guy like Boucher, with bigs in general, there's always this idea that very quickly they could do more harm than good. And I think that's valuable, but just especially with our scramble D, you could picture him kind of like diving out to the three and knocking someone over and everyone being like, oh no, Boucher. But it's like, man, we saw him put up a 40-point game, I think, this year. We saw him do step back threes, run the pick and roll. Like, this guy has quite a bit going on with his game if you're not fixated on the idea that he has to be a center. I think Boucher is a great pick. Cathryn, what about you? Who's your who'd you like to see in the playoffs right now?
Oh, look, you guys are making me feel kind of bad now, because I really didn't dive deep into the roster or think of some sort of niche pick. In my mind, I was just like, the only person really is Kyle. Come on.
Hey,
we need Kyle in the playoffs. Like, it is. I mean, look, I want Kyle to stay. Absolutely. But there's this part of me that's like, I wish he could just hop on a team just for this one playoff run and then come right back. I mean, obviously that's impossible, but it's just, to me, at the age he's at right now, it's such a shame that he's not competing in the playoffs. And I hope that he stays healthy and he can be, Kyle as we've always known Kyle next year in the playoffs. But yeah, definitely Kyle is the one I miss the most.
Also a great answer. Kyle is such a competitor, and I feel like, he's that type of game manager person who really can manipulate a game. Like you get those little, you get the incredible heroic Kyle Lowry moments, but you also get those little moments where I think last year there was a picture of his like finger tucked into like Jason Tatum's jersey, and he was like pulling it in such a way that like Jason Tatum was just like, why, dude, you're annoying me. And it's kind of like, yeah, that's Kyle. Like, Kyle is like, he's gonna hit some big buckets, but he's gonna like piss people off. Like he like lives for the playoffs. So I think that's a great answer. You're gonna make fun of me, Cathryn, but my answer was like even more deep, I think, than Yaw's, because Yaw's like, okay, Boucher's ready, he deserves to be there.
Sure.
For me, I would love to see Birch. And before we just laugh, I would like to see him because I think keeps kind of, or at the end of the season, he kept kind of he was better than I thought he was, like in every way, but also the games were pretty close to meaningless. So I don't know where the middle is there. Like I'd love to see him in a playoff game. Is it 3 minutes in, like this guy can't cut it? Like he's just not a starter. He'll leave you exposed if he's your starter in the playoffs. Like where, I kind of have this feeling that there's a chance that he's our guy. If we don't get a better guy to replace him next year, and we'll be going into the playoffs with him as a starter, not exactly knowing. I feel like we'll be able to see some good Birch action, hopefully in the Olympics. So maybe we'll get some more high leverage basketball there, but Kyle, Boucher, Birch, all good answers. Cathryn, let me go to you on this next one. And it's just, this is the classic, like Rico Hines question, which I think we'll be seeing glimpses of soon enough.
I'm sorry, who's Rico Hines?
So like Rico Hines is the place that, is the gym that, like Raptors have been going to every summer and dramatically improving.
Oh,
so it's like they all go together. It's like Fred, OG, and Pascal go together every year. And there's also like Boucher. Also, Norm was like a fixture of that for sure. And you would imagine that like Harris and Malachi are for sure like going to go there type thing. But yeah, so I think I'm just kind of curious who you think's going to make that like put in the work that results in a leap. Because there's certain guys they're already pretty good, so it's kind of harder to improve once you're good, so what do you think?
Again, I feel like I'm the villain of this podcast, but I feel
don't tell me no one's gonna improve, Cathryn.
No, I'm not saying I'm not. I would never.
I don't think you're a villain.
I would never. Thank you.
I don't think you're a villain either.
I want and need it to be Siakam. Right?
That's very fair.
Like I think the Raptors
wow, so
the Raptors fan base is really good at getting very enthusiastic about very young up and coming talent, and rightfully so, because we have this history, like you just said, right? But I'm not like that worried about a Malachi Flynn or anybody like that just yet. I'm like, I want to see Siakam, improve his handle, just get more confidence back in general. Like, I mean, you can't go to a gym like that and get your end of game confidence back. But I just, I really want to see him improve his handle mostly out of anything.
I do not think you're a villain at all. I think that's like a fantastic answer.
Well, I say villain because like people pile on a Siakam like too much.
They do,
and I'm not,
for sure.
And I'm not about that at all. But I like to think that I can see it for what it is, and it's like this guy. We need this guy to improve, but I want to be able to say that without being like a bully.
Very fair.
A big meanie.
Well, no,
I don't think you're a bully.
Yaw doesn't think you're a bully, and you're not. But I think it's fair to say, because lost in the there's a lot of valid criticism of Siakam. And I think when you're the number one option, the highest paid player, et cetera, you just have a different level of criteria you have to hit. And it's much harder, and it's hard to live up to, and you're going to get scrutinized quite a bit. Like, you got the bag and you got to kind of keep showing up. But it's valid for you to say that. It's important for you to say that, because that bleeds into A, he's not good. B, he's like a bum of some kind, or C, just it devolves into weird hatred and bigotry. Which, yeah, so I'm with you, because there's a different type of fan who wants to critique someone's personal life, I think, versus kind of we're critiquing his decision making when the game's on the line and the ball's in his hands, and I think that's very, very fair. Before I say mine, because I don't want to actually, you know what? I'm going to say mine before Yaw's, because mine was also Siakam. And
oh, okay, cool.
So I just don't want you to feel like a villain for even a second, because I was debating between him and Fred. And that's just because I think our half court offense really is the most, I think that's where we can grow the most. And right. I think OG has made such a quantum leap that I just want OG to kind of maintain what he's done and be this really amazing 3-and-D guy. I just can't imagine OG is oh my God, he is having another year where he now averages 25 points. I just don't see it. I hopefully that would be amazing, but I can't really see that. But I think Siakam, all it's going to look like is a little bit more efficiency here, a little less turnovers there, different reads, and all of a sudden we're winning more games. So I think, Siakam was also my answer. What about you, Yaw?
I think Siakam is a great answer. I don't think it's a pylon or a bully, because he just kind of took a step back after having a great all-star caliber season, and it was a bubble, and it throws a lot of players off. And I'm not gonna pile on him for that because of the bubble. There are two players that I have in mind, and since none of you guys said them both, I expect Malachi Flynn to make that leap. He just seems like that kind of guy who has that work ethic. I think he's been around because he stayed with the squad. He wasn't spending his time in 905. He spent his time with the squad, so he knows what the work ethic is, and those guys are all 905 alumni, so they've looked at him. You're if you want to make it, this is what it is. So there's an expectation there, being that he was their first round draft pick, that he will take the leap. Whether Kyle stays or not, Kyle stay. But the other one, and this one is one I really wanted to say, but it's so tricky because of his contract status, is Gary Trent Jr.
My God, I love this. Okay. I was debating between, Pascal and Fred, but Gary was the one where I'm I don't know sorry, I'm stealing your point. I got excited. Go for it, yeah.
So Gary Trent Jr. had a really good, strong finish at the end of the year, and he has a player option. So he'll likely opt out, because why wouldn't you opt out to make get that bag? But the potential, he played the best with the Raptors. There's just something to be said. Some players are just this includes Kawhi, and All-Star Game MVP aside, he hasn't played better with the Clippers since he's been with the Raptors. Vince
doesn't
Carter,
that feel so good? Doesn't that just feel so good?
There's something about it. It's just DeRozan is playing well, but he's just not as good since he's left the Raptors. Vince Carter and Trace McGrady are the only exceptions who played better after leaving the Raptors, but it was a different time. I think there's something I think Gary needs to know that he can get to an all-star potential, to a real contributing, starting NBA player. That's a big, sharp shooting lineup with him and OG in it. That's who I would see. OG can guard 1 through 4, and Gary can guard 2 to 4. I would like to see that stay. So Malachi is the obvious answer. I think he is poised to make a leap, and that is. I know this is an opinion-based question, but I think that is "quote unquote" the right answer. But the one I'm really like because of everything around it, it's Gary Trent Jr. So.
No, you nailed this because the right answer is the interesting answer. And I think Malachi, yeah, we could all be like, he's a perfect example of someone who he's an older vet, had a lot of experience in the NCAA, kind of came to the Raptors, was drafted a little bit late because of his size, was awesome in the G League, and then was like, had this remarkable tutelage of Lowry and Fred for an entire season. It's like, this guy is a perfect example of someone who's going to come out in his sophomore year and look nothing like a sophomore, and just be like really quite good. But I feel like Trent is more interesting because I thought we saw Trent with like a little bit of starters, the bench, but also like sometimes he played with like guys who we're like looking at, like they're kind of like G League prospects. So I think Trent really got a mixed bag, and I think
big game in the season where he dropped 40.
Well, yeah, exactly. So it's like, wow, he can get that hot. He's this young. And also, is he going to start going to these Rico Hines things? Like, what's his leap? Is it like, is his leap as a playmaker? So, or as a defender? And I think like, that's kind of interesting. And like, if he really does figure into like our core, that's going to be, super duper important.
I mean, I don't want to say this because I don't want to say this as a shrewd business person, but like what he really should do is sign like a two-year, or like a 1+1, like a 1+ player option for 2 years, get a bit of a raise to raise his profile and stay. That's what I would do if I were him, because like in general, people who play for the Raptors look really good, and like who knows what the market is next year for people. But selfishly, I want him to sign like a really like a team friendly, though it'd still be a raise because he was getting like $1 million or like $2 million.
Mm-hmm.
I think their option is 11, which is weird. I should know these things. No, I shouldn't. I'm a regular person. But
yeah, you're fine. You're fine.
But like he should, if he signs a deal that like kind of like slightly lower than OG's, like that works out with the team, it'd be great. I think for him, for 4 years, I'd be personally happy. But for him, he should sign a 1+1.
I mean, imagine he doesn't sign with us after wearing all those like Maple Leaf jerseys and stuff. Like, what a troll! He wears all this Toronto propaganda. He never gets here.
Oh my gosh, it's not as bad as Kyrie going up to the Boston fan base and saying that he'll stay in the middle of the game. And
that was, yeah, that's like pretty classically Kyrie. But no, I think the Trent stuff. I don't want to be too optimistic, but a big part of that trade is how controllable the money is there. The fact that he's restricted means that if any team tries to kind of like mess with the Raptors and give him a big offer, they have to dedicate their entire offseason to that. So the likelihood of a team trying to mess with the Raptors just to then mess with themselves, I think is very low. So I think, like you're saying, there's a really good opportunity that the Raptors get Trent to a contract that's somewhere close to OG for 4 years. But also, yeah, if you're Trent's agent and you're like, man, I think the market is going to be even bigger in 2 years. I want my guy back out there. Maybe you can sell the Raptor on less years, more money. But anyways, I'd be remiss if I was if I didn't say I'm just too anxious to talk playoff basketball. So I got to move off Trent here. Like, Trent, I hope you put in the work. Raptors, I hope you put in the work. But these playoffs have been so nuts that I'm just freaking out, and I gotta have some takes on it. But before we jump to the NBA segment, we're just gonna take a quick pause, and we're gonna hear from some of our sponsors. Matt, I don't know if that was good. I hope it was. Maybe it wasn't. Honestly. Wait, Matt, first tell me if that was good.
No, you know what? That was great. Now, if people don't hear from our sponsors and we just move on, that's okay. Don't worry. Nothing's wrong. We just have spot there now.
Nothing's
Yeah,
wrong. If there's
Fuck
no
the spot.
sponsors, nothing's wrong. Just know that sometimes the host of this pod does basically have a conniption. Okay, but let's talk some
It's like
NBA.
if you book it, they will come. You just have to
Yeah.
say it to
You got
will it into the universe. So
Totally.
eventually there will be.
You do. You have to make
We're throwing an advertising lure into the middle of the pod.
I walk around by myself at night saying next up our sponsors to anyone I encounter outside. So I'm really doubling and tripling and quadrupling down on this method. Okay, let's talk some NBA though. Maddie, good sir, please, even though I probably messed up this sting royally, give me your most delicious Adam Silver tugboat sting.
National Basketball Association.
Oh, whoops. And now for your walking stranger sponsors. Just kidding. That joke didn't even make sense. Yaw. Let's just dive right back in here. Cathryn's like, what's going on with Freddie? I can tell. But okay. Yeah, just who surprised you the most? Like what team, good or bad? And I should throw in the caveat that we're recording this on the 25th. So the games we won't be able to talk about, the three of them happening tonight. I think it's Lakers, Phoenix, Boston, Brooklyn, and maybe another West Coast one. Maybe
It's Portland, Denver.
No, that happened last night.
that happened last time. But anyways, there's three games we won't be able to talk about. But yeah. So anyways, yeah, like of the 3 series, or the 8 series rather, 3 of them have had a game 2. So a little bit more, or you know what? I'm missing everything. Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
West Clippers Mavs.
You know what? Spiel of a question aside, who's surprising you the most? Yeah.
This one was tough. I had thought it through. Someone surprised me in a good way, and someone surprising me in a way. So, in the way, it's the Clippers. I mean, listen, they tanked to avoid the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
They shouldn't have. They should have played it. They would have got the 3 seed, and they would have played Portland, and we'd be talking about how they're up 2-0 and how Kawhi and Paul George seem like they're getting it because they just don't have matches on the wings. But Luka's just taking their lunch, and they won't be able to guard him in this series, and they just gotta hope that no one else shows up for Dallas. But when the boy is averaging 31, 10, and 10, it's just against quote unquote the best wing defenders in the league, which, I mean, if it's still true, then whatever. I don't think it's been true for a couple of years. It's just, and they played more games, and this is supposed to be the year, and they spent the year gelling, and they got playoff Rondo, and like it just, you can't be. It's not, and they're only down 1-0, but it's just, you feel like they were going to take the lead. Everything they did wrong last year, they somewhat like worked on this year, and it doesn't seem like it's showing. I think they just got the wrong matchup, and they look bad right now. But the Bucks look great. Like the Bucks look so good.
Are the Bucks? Is this your surprise good team? The Bucks? Like, do you think
The Bucks are my surprise good team? Like they look good. Like I expected the 76ers to look good, and then I remember seeing game 1 of the Nets Celtics score, and I was just like, whatever, Nets are gonna come back. Boston's drawing dead. But like this first round matchup with Miami is like the matchup I look most forward to. And just for them to come out and smash them in game 2, and like Giannis is doing everything to like earn back this crown. For the podcast audience, it's me putting the crown on my own head.
Oh yeah.
Like it seems like he wants to be able to do it. It was a cool moment that like looks bad in retrospect, and I think in game 2 is just he looks so like that team looks so poised to win the East, even though like I'm hedging my bets. I still think it's the 76ers, but yeah, they look so good right now.
Great answers. I had Clippers and Bucks. That's my final. So I mean, I've been so, I don't know, like unrelentlessly supporting of the Bucks. So I feel like I'm almost surprised that they're actually doing what they're supposed to do, I guess, in a sense. But the Clippers, for me, it has been one game, and what are we supposed to do? It's all the kind of data we have. But I think it was a little bit like, wait a second, that looked a bit easy for Dallas. Where are you at, Cathryn? Who are you being surprised by, or who are you most surprised by?
I just want to say one thing about Milwaukee. Like, I think, we talk about Giannis wanting to reassert himself and put that crown back on, but also Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton was left off the All-Star game roster this year, which is like,
yep, one of the best ISO scorers in the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, he's so good in these games, and I mean, he's very good in general, but it's one of those things that, like, as fans, we forget that he's probably still like very salty about. And also too, like with Milwaukee, like I in a weird way, I expected them to be really good in this series because there's just way too much at stake for them. For them to flounder in this series would be the demise of just so much that they've built. Like you just can't come back from that. So I think for them, the stakes are higher than any other like first round playoff series, probably in a long time. So I expected Milwaukee to do well, and I'm glad that they did. Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah. The pressure was like on everyone too. Like Bud, like,
yeah. His job would be gone for sure.
They're almost in like a college, like football style scenario where it's like every single person, like every aspect of this series, like it's they could sweep the Heat and people would be like, it would be like a sigh of relief. They won't be celebrating.
Even the front office would have some answering to do. Like it would just be across the whole board. So anyway, I agree with what you're saying about the Clippers. Like so Matt McCready, frequent guest on this pod, did this little like NBA pool like playoff thing, right? And I was saying to Freddie, I was like, look, like I bet that the Clippers would beat the Mavericks in the first round, but if they don't, I will give like double the money to charity. Like I'll be so excited to lose.
Yeah, it will be fun.
I'll double my money to any charity. That is totally fine by me. But anyway, my biggest surprise for me was the Atlanta Hawks. Like that game was so good. I was not expecting Trae Young to become the next Madison Square Garden villain, especially in game one. And here he is, and it was so cool. And like I have been a Trae Young fan, and I feel like I've been a low-key underground Trae Young fan because it's not popular to be a Trae Young fan. Everybody finds him like super annoying. I don't know why people find him super annoying. He's so fun to watch. Even like when he is being annoying, I find him so entertaining.
Oh yeah, he's awesome.
I just don't know why he bugs people, but I love that he bugs New York and the way they taunted him and the way he went at them. I bet that Trae Young went back and watched old school tape, like not even just current tape of the Knicks, even though I'm sure he did that too, but also watched some old school tape just to see what that crowd would be like, just to see what Reggie Miller was like. Like, I feel like he really dug deep. And if he didn't, then he did it intuitively because it was beautiful. And I actually feel like it was a real missed opportunity that they didn't have Reggie Miller on the call of that game, because he did the call like the game after.
Oh, I love that.
And kind of talked about it. And I'm like, oh, like, what are you doing? Like, Reggie Miller should be calling that series. Come on.
Oh my God. Imagine if Trae Young, he's like such a student of the game that like he limps out like Willis Reed. Like just to piss off MSG. It's like, oh my God, he's doing the Willis Reed thing. And everyone's like, oh, but he's not even like a Nick. And it just gets like, but like, wait, is he injured? You know what I mean? Like, but he's not. And he's just kind of like trolling. They did start chanting, fuck Trae Young.
Yeah.
Or fuck you, Trae Young, before the game started. So it's like, MSG's
Sure.
coming in hard. So I love that Trey's bringing it.
I love that he came in his first playoff game, new shoes, and he just like
crushed.
Crushed it.
crushed.
Crushed
Like,
it.
They have no answer for him. So like part of me is like they have no answer. But I keep forgetting this is his first playoff game. They don't typically do that well in their first playoff game. So
No, that was a huge first game. So
huge
Atlanta was like I was debating picking Atlanta, and I think that is kind of my pick, sort of. But I just want to throw out some love to Memphis.
Oh yeah.
I think Canadian Dylan Brooks and
Dylan Brooks, yes.
JV, getting Gobert in foul trouble. It's like I know there's the Donovan Mitchell stuff, and maybe Jazz are a bit rusty, whatever. It's like it doesn't matter. You have to go out and win the game. Memphis just played 2 play-in games. This is kind of what is exciting about the potential play-in. I think is a hungry team like Memphis. Seeing Jaren Jackson Jr. come back for this time, it's kind of like this is the volatility I think fans, you love to see, and I would still favor the Jazz for sure. But Yao already brought it up, so I'll just say my next question was, who do you think has had the best individual performance? And mine's Trae Young in that game. I don't know but there's other good contenders, so I don't know if you guys are coming from that angle, but let me go to you first. Who's your what's the best individual? It doesn't have to be the biggest scoring one. It could just be like a key performance. So who's your best?
it is the youngest player of triple doubles under the age. It's Luka. Luka is. There's no answer for him, and it's really funny for me because the Clippers built their roster to stop LeBron. And Luka is essentially like not as athletic, not as fast, but like the mold is there. Like they have the mold there. And he's still giving you 30, 10, and 10. Like he's doing what he wants. And like it's fitting that we're the first 2 answers are Trae Young and Luka because they're forever gonna be linked because
I know, right?
So I'm happy that Trae Young went in and just won, and like Atlanta doesn't have the whole like you gave up a generational talent, and they did.
No, they're both great though. But that's a
they're
key
both
point.
great.
I love that.
Like that's what it is.
The way I look at it is this: it's like if Cleveland traded LeBron James for Carmelo Anthony. You know what I mean? And then it's like, wow, you traded LeBron James, but guess what? You still have a young Carmelo Anthony. And if you play your cards right, you can still do something with that. But yeah, that's how I see it.
That's fair.
It's fair. And I think like for Atlanta, at least for that community, Trae Young was the right player, right? He just makes Atlanta a little bit more excited.
He's cool.
He is. He's a bit of an underdog and he can shoot. But
he's
like
politically involved there as well.
Yeah. So, but Luka is he's doing it with no real all-star help. Kristaps is not the same player. He's doing it against a team built with wing defenders, and he's just taking them to school. It's just I know the numbers are there, and I said the triple-double, but like it's not just the numbers. It's like
totally agree.
No answer for that guy.
Well, he's starting to get the hockey assists now too. Sorry, I'm interrupting, but I just aggressively agreeing with you.
Yeah, he controls the game right now, and he's not supposed to.
He does.
He's not supposed to get those numbers against Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Marcus Morris, like Patrick Beverly, who's like you're too short, which I loved when he said that in the game when he yelled at Patrick Beverly.
I did not know he said that, and I love that so much.
Oh yeah, it was just like
he said you're too short to guard me.
Now, there's a swears in there, but he said that. I do also like how Patrick Beverly is being exposed because he's not a good defender. He's just a pass. And
I love it.
Put him on all defensive teams, and it drives me nuts. It's him and like, what's his name from Boston?
Smart.
Yeah, Marcus Smart is just Marcus Smart is at least a better defender, but he's not that this old NBA talent that people keep marking him up to be. Whatever. Luka's
sometimes reputations. I mean, me and you are exactly aligned there. I think Rondo had it for a little bit. Sometimes your reputation, especially defensively, can live on for a bit too long. Like Yaw, you even alluded to, you're not sure if Kawhi and PG are the best wing defenders. It's like I'll go ahead and say it. They are not right now. I mean, they're obviously like top whatever, but they're not. I don't know. I don't think I would look around the league at every single wing defender and say, like day in, day out, it's Kawhi or PG. I'm sure like on a given night or whatever, but it's like, yeah, there's other guys. But Cathryn, who's your best performance so far? Individual.
Well, aside from everyone we've already mentioned, because they definitely deserve mentioning.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about Dylan Brooks on the Grizzlies.
Yeah,
that was a hell of a game.
45th overall
Mississauga
pick.
zone. If I was like a young kid, like his picture would be in my locker. Like I'd just be so excited.
He's tough.
But he's that. But also, I think we need to give out a shout out to Devin Booker, because he also on pretty playoff debut again.
Yes.
It's like he's just been in the league longer, so we forget, right? But that was also his playoff debut. Chris Paul goes out early in the midway through the first quarter. And he really stepped up. I don't have his numbers in front of me, but like that was also just a very impressive coming out.
Booker's a great pick.
Yeah.
Booker's great. Also, DeAndre Ayton had a great game.
Yes.
And he's just that was the game that Anthony Davis was supposed to remind people. Like, you can't let Ayton come into the league and have a good game like that. Now this guy has confidence.
Totally.
He's supposed to be humbled against this guy who's supposed to be one of the top 3 defensive players in the league. And he just no offensive rebounds for Anthony Davis, and Ayton's not that tough of a center.
AD definitely has to show up.
That'll change.
I think it will. It's like the idea that AD, he's like a superstar, legit superstar for a reason. But yeah, to your point, Yaw, Ayton, you look good in a place where you would expect some jitters, and he also they couldn't play Drummond against them. Gasol didn't play. Harrell basically was ineffectual, so he's really was doing his job as a big. And Cathryn, to your point, it's kind of the Booker thing, eh? It's like this guy is just quietly ridiculous on offense, and everyone's like, does it matter though? And it's even this first playoff game, everyone's like, yeah, Chris Paul hurt his arm, or the Lakers are struggling. And Booker's like, but I played my first game and I was really, really, really good. And everyone's like, sorry,
people are really high
don't
on
care.
Chris Paul. Don't get me wrong. Chris Paul deserves for people to be high on him, but I feel like people treat Chris Paul like he has several rings already. And he doesn't. You know what I mean? I don't know. I've just been getting that feeling over the last couple months. People treat Chris Paul like he's already an NBA champion. I don't know.
He definitely is someone who seems
hot take on my part.
No, fair.
That is a flaming take.
As someone who classically, I'll say it forever because it's unforgivable. I thought Darren Williams was going to be better than Chris Paul, and I was triumphantly wrong. So I got to make sure to give Chris Paul his flowers all the time. And that OKC season last year, coupled with this Phoenix season, it is ridiculously impressive.
Yeah.
But I do think there is this kind of I don't know. He's head of the players union. Maybe he's, State Farm. He's in our faces. Yeah. Chris Paul. So I see you being a bit.
He turns around franchises.
He does.
He's incapable of having a losing season. I do think, yes, over the last couple months, people have been treating him as if he's been a 4-time NBA champion, which is
the MVP talks a bit much. Sorry.
No. Yeah. I'm one of those MVP guys. I'm one of the guys who should be MVP. It's a weird year, and to turn around a Phoenix team and get him to that seed, I'm one of the guys. I like MVP Chris Paul. I'm not the biggest fan of Jokic. If anything, I think Giannis gets a little bit slighted because he won 2 in a row.
I
Yeah, but
totally
you're
agree
a
with that.
you're a biased Embiid fan. You gotta preface that you are a
I-
biased Joel Embiid fan.
fan.
Do we have some bias on this pod? Because I will turn this pod right around.
Me? My biases are. I think if I had MVP votes, my number one be Chris Paul, my number two be Giannis.
Oh my god!
Wow, my
Oh
number
my
one and
God.
two.
That's why
would
fans
be-
don't get votes, yeah.
This is why
That's why fans don't get votes.
I that's one of the only things I've accurately predicted is Jokic being the MVP. So I'm sticking to that. But let's move on to some quickish questions. Let's get silly. Are you both ready to get silly with some quickish questions?
Got it.
I'm ready for it.
Maddie, good sir, please give me your most deliciously weird, silly, quickish questions. Sting.
Quickish Questions.
This is Quickish Questions. I am going to read these questions as fast as I can, as clearly as I can. I'm going to stutter, slur, get lost, click away to the wrong browser. Who knows? Misread a comma, misunderstand a semicolon, which I don't understand in the first place. But that doesn't matter. You have to answer as quick as you possibly can. You can't phone a friend. No stalling. No repeating the question back to buy time. Maddie D, I'm looking at you for that one.
That's true. That is true.
Strategy.
You just got to let that brain fire. Okay, let's do this. Let's go. Yaw, Cathryn, Matt. Are we all ready?
I think so.
Yeah.
Oh,
go.
Matt's standing up. He's ready. He's thinking
Oh,
on
I'm
his
at the
feet
standing
today.
desk today. Yeah.
This
I
is
love
fun.
that flu was coming. This is great.
Oh God, Maddie, I love you. Okay, Yao. Should Kem Birch be a starter next season?
Depending on who they draft, I was as of now with the roster in front of you, I would start him.
Okay, Cathryn.
Mm-hmm.
Should Gary Trent Jr. be a starter next season?
Sure, that'd be great.
Cheers, Matt.
Yeah.
When the Raptors won the championship in 2019, who on the team wore jersey number 20?
Oh man, who wore number 20? Was it Miller?
I actually don't know. I'm guessing Jody Meeks, but I'll check
okay.
by the time we finish this pod.
No clue.
That's a fun little trivia question there. Yeah.
Question.
Here we go. Which former Raptor currently playing in the playoffs are you rooting for?
Jeez. Am I rooting for a former Raptor?
We got
I-
JV in there. We got
Norm.
No, I was like, is there
Norm?
anybody else other than JV?
JV?
I don't think there's anybody else other than JV that I'm really rooting for. So yeah.
Wow, not even Norm, eh?
No, I mean like I love Norm. I saw Norm in the crowd.
Wow.
I love it. Yeah, I was like,
like-
I'm out on Norm.
But I'm not out on him. You know what? You're right. I would.
You saw that
it's
that
crazy.
Players Tribune article, gave it a dislike.
Okay,
I want him back.
Cathryn.
That's all it is. That's what it is. He's a free agent of the year. I would have him back. I would have him back in a heartbeat.
Cathryn, give us an eventual playoff upset. So who is going to who's going to complete their upset?
Eventually, you mean like second round or this round?
I'd say whichever one you feel most confident in.
This round, upset. Upset. I honestly, like, it could be the Suns. I didn't pick that in my bracket, but like it could be the Suns. That would be a hell of an upset.
It would be, even though it's not like a seed upset. It's obviously an upset, right? And if
That's
if you beat
the former
LeBron,
champs is an upset.
If
Correct.
Rob loses in the first round for the first time ever, it's an upset.
Yes, exactly.
Or
Oh my
okay,
God.
not a non-seed upset would be or seed upset. Sorry, would be Dallas over the Clippers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that Dallas makes sense, but your
Yeah.
answer is correct because beating LeBron would be the biggest upset. Maddie, last question,
Okay.
and I don't know if you've seen the Quickish Questions post, because if you haven't, this might be a
No.
bit hard for you. But
Okay.
hey, you're gonna have to go for it.
Sure.
I posted a GIF in there of
Okay.
Masai and Nav Bhatia. Nav was showing off his ring to a crowd. I've never seen this before. Masai's face, they're both looking around, but Nav the ring's on his middle finger and he's showing it off. So the question is the middle finger that Superfan is throwing on purpose? That's what I want to know. That's the question. So is Nav giving people the finger on purpose? That's what that's the question. There's a championship ring on the finger.
To our own fans?
I don't know who's the audience.
It's who knows? Yeah, I don't think Nav is that kind of guy. So I'm going to say no. I'm just going to say he's very comfortable with a ring on that mid fing.
Cheers. Yeah, I agree. I don't think Nav is like working weird angles to give people the middle finger, but if he is, cheers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, buddies. That's it. We made it to the end of the pod. This was a fun one. This was awesome.
This is fun. This is the most efficient episode I've ever been on.
Right? I was challenged with a little bit of efficiency, and I was kind of efficient in my own ADD type way. So I'll take it. Yaw, you got a bunch going on. I know you got an awesome Kickstarter going for something you're working on. Please tell everyone about it. Sorry?
I know. So find me on social media at Yaw Experience. I am raising money for my Toronto Fringe show called One of the Good Ones. It is a comedic storytelling show. And because Fringe is digital this year, a lot of the elements fall on us. And in order for me to have a very good production, I am raising money to get like the things I need, like a good camera and a good sound system, some posts done by some people. So if you go on Kickstarter and look up Yaw Attuah or look up One of the Good Ones, you can find it. We have 5 days left. We're 75% towards the goal.
Oh man, almost there. Help out everybody.
Almost there.
Listeners of this pod, you couldn't be doing something nicer for a nicer person.
Yeah.
So
when is your Fringe experience? When is that happening?
Fringe happens in July, and I'm recording the show at the beginning of June. So
Sweet.
It is. Yeah, it'll be good. I get to plug it a couple times. By then, we'll be talking about different rounds of the playoffs. So hopefully, I'll come back and plug.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
usually nothing to plug. So here I am now.
Cathryn, what's up? I know I alluded to some secret stuff. You can't plug that. But what do you want to plug?
Yeah, I got just some secret stuff. You know how it is. No.
Yeah, flubber. Like,
oh man. Yeah, no, I'm writing for a new show on the CBC, which will debut, I think, very early 2022. Which
you're writing for the National, right?
Yeah, I'm writing for the National. I'm making up the news. It is fake, everyone.
Yeah. Ian Hannah Mansing. Yeah, that's a fake script, folks.
Yeah, you think he just had that name? We made that name up. Anyway, okay, this is too silly. Yeah, that's happening. Teaching comedy writing at Bad Dog Theater online, which is really cool. Also Buckets and Tea NBA show. It's weekly. It's usually every Monday, but the last few weeks have kind of fallen off a bit because I've just been crazy, but it's still a weekly pod doing NBA stuff, doing Raptor stuff, still desperately clinging to try and have a Nick Nurse Hot Girl Summer highlight of the week. Basically anything he does has become a highlight at this point.
Sure.
But
bit of a Where's Waldo now.
Yeah, but we keep it going. So that's, wherever you can get your podcasts.
Hell yeah. Cathryn Yaw, you're amazing. Maddie D, you are amazing. Everyone who listens to this podcast, thank you so much. We really appreciate all the support, the likes, the reviews, the comments, anything. It's been yeah, it's been awesome and so encouraging. We've been growing a lot recently, so just mega appreciate it, everyone. Thank you, and keep spreading the word and all that good stuff. Maddie D, if you feel like we're done and we're good to go and we're all set, please, sir, just give me those sweet words. Okay.
This podcast has been brought to you by the Sonar Network.
Sonar!